Welcome everyone to the third stream where we will be trying to build our FujoGuide website. I'm actually going to show you the website as we have it right now. Browser, there you are. And it's at fujoweb.dev. Okay, here is the website that we're building, its current state. In the meantime, I am going to introduce myself once again. People call me Miss Boba, and I am the project lead on the Fujoshi Guide to Web Development, and I'll be your host today. So people actually did ask why I'm called Miss Boba, and it's because I started my web development for fandom journey by working on a software to build online communities called Boba Board. And so that's what got people to start calling me Miss Boba, because I have not that much fantasy for names. So this software, it's currently functional but still under development. You can find some of it if you click around on my own GitHub. Why is it not released yet? Because we are trying to build an actually effective and awesome and fulfilling development experience with a team of volunteers. And as part of this journey, we realized that if we wanted to achieve our goal to have fandom people build their own spaces, also in terms of coding them, we needed to not just create the code, but actually educate people on how to join a modern open source project. So, for example, the Kickstarter that we've made, that was a direct result of us wanting to clear what is the largest hurdle to collaboration these days, and that being understanding how Git and GitHub work. But as part of all this, we don't just want to teach people what is necessary to volunteer for our projects. We want to teach everyone that's willing to learn how to build websites using modern tools. Because, every time someone builds their own website, we get a little bit closer to just a more open and independent web. So if you're interested in all this, there are links in my page. You can support us by subscribing to my Patreon and all that jazz. So now that we're done with the introduction, I want to do a small recap of where we're at and introduce what we're going to be doing today. First of all, is there any question? Okay, giving a bit of time because there is always a delay. So, where are we at? Last time we started moving our website from pure HTML and CSS to a static site generator called Astro. I'm gonna bring up the Astro homepage. You can see it here. A lot of tech speak, but this is actually a really, really cool and simple website generator that we think it's very well suited to the goal of people that are likely to be here today. So what is static site generation? As a reminder, the problem the static site generators try to solve is that as a website, as you're making a website and the website grows with more pages, more complexity, making edits to it becomes a lot of work, and they actually become a barrier to people continuing to grow and publish on their site. So what static site generators do and what makes them so helpful is that they help you share the code that you write across different pages, making it modular and making it so that you can do edits in a single centralized place, for example, to your layout, which is what we're going to be doing today, And that makes it easier to grow the site with time. And the way they do this is each static site generator has their own language, and you write the code in that language, and then the static site generator goes through all the file you've written and outputs actually valid HTML and CSS and JavaScript that the browsers understand. So by adding this intermediate step, which is called the build step, the static site generator just gives you a more convenient language and structure with which to build your website from. And there are very many static site generators, as I was mentioning, and this one, Astro, is our favorite. Because the reason it's a favorite is it has a very intuitive syntax if you already know HTML, JavaScript, or CSS, or even if you don't. And so that makes it very easy to pick up and get started with. It also has a lot of cool features for dealing with your content that we are very likely not going to touch today, but that I hope to go through maybe in the next stream or in 2 streams. For now, we'll see how it shapes up. And yes, so what we are gonna do today is work on creating components. But before I go on to explain what components are, time again, is there any questions about static site generator or literally anything? Okay, no questions. I don't know how much delay there is, but so if you know, okay. So if if I move away too quickly, just ask the question later and I'll pick them up. So where were we at? Okay, components. So what are components? I'm going to go to my code and I'm gonna make this much bigger so you can actually see. Actually, we don't need the browser right now. Here it is. So we actually last time we did do one component, and it is here in header.astro. Let me actually show you where it's used. Did we use it? Here it is. This beautiful custom HTML tag. And Mario says, I feel like I don't know enough to even know what question to ask at this point. You'll get the hang of it, and if you end up having questions later, just shoot us a message anywhere. And sometimes just let me close my window. Actually, there's a lot of noise, but feel free to shoot us a message at any time. And sometimes it's easier when the answer is written. Okay, less noise now. So I was saying, hello, I'm here on Salt Data, so I'll only be here for a bit, but I wanted to see what you were up to. Hello, welcome for however long you can stay, and we're up to explaining components right now. So, okay, now I can explain them. So what are components? They are building blocks of reusable user interface elements that you can sprinkle your website with. So in this example that we saw last time, we have created our own HTML-like tag, which represents the header of a web page. So in this case, for if we go to the browser, and where is my browser? Go browser. And we go on our website. This is our header component, or you can see my mouse. This thing is our header component. And wherever we want to put it in our website, we can use this header tag, and it's just gonna stay there. So as I was saying, a reusable block of user interface. Now, components are actually not a concept that's specific to Astro. There are like the concept of component is basically everywhere in modern web development. Every framework has its own version of a component. So React has components, Vue has components, I think Angular has components, but like most of these do have them. And there is actually even a native concept of components called web components that that you can use if you want, and they leverage pure HTML and JavaScript to allow you to have these custom elements on the page. Now, the Astro components are slightly different from some of these other components because they do actually not require any JavaScript to be running on the page. What Astro components do is they are transformed to pure HTML at the moment in which the static site generation runs. And so they are a really cool way of having literally the same effect as you would writing everything manually, but in a more convenient way. So, and today we're gonna create a component that is going to be our layout component. And we are going to create multiple pages for this website finally and share the layout across them this way. If we have time, I would also love to try recreating our characters cards in using components. I think that would be really cool, but we'll see. We'll see if we get there. I think the stream I'll try to make it last around 1 hour and a half, maybe 2. It's gonna be recorded, and one little words of warning. It was a bit of a hectic week, so I'm going into this without having made as much preparation, but I've done this before. We're actually using a very, very similar method to write the pages of our Git and GitHub guide. So you never know though. This is gonna be real web development made by actual people that have not planned this before. CM the Nerd asks, does that mean you can make components just with JavaScript? Yes. I actually don't know how to make web components. I know the general ideas, but I usually like to use frameworks for this. But yeah, there is a native way of making this. It is a somewhat controversial topic, like on how easy they are to use. There are frameworks that are made specifically to create web components, so native experiences, but with a more approachable syntax. The one that I would recommend if you do want to go for I guess web component, but maybe with web components, here it's called lit, and this would allow you to have a very nice syntax to create them, but it's not, you don't need to use it. You can just make them, yes, with just JavaScript. And then whether they work without JavaScript, I don't want to go in the rabbit hole. But yes, web components are cool. So, any other question? Okay, I think there is a lot of delay. So again, feel free to interrupt me. Okay, so let's get into it. As a reminder, please yell at me if I am doing things while displaying the wrong window on the stream. It's a battle that I still lose. So let's start with VS Code. Let's close some things so that you can see the page. Let me know if you want me to get an even larger font. So let's start. The first thing I do usually when I get back to doing a project that I haven't touched for a few weeks is I use the incredibly useful git log command. Let's get the whole terminal, which reminds me where we were at. So we can see here last thing we did on June 27. Oh man, it's been more than a month. Okay, the last thing we did on June 27 is we did create the other component, and then I fixed our TypeScript configuration today because it wasn't working. So this is another change. Okay, this makes sense. And this is, as a reminder, one of the things that Git, which is what we explained in our first theme, gives us, the ability to remember where we were at. So let's start immediately. First thing, we are going to run the development version of our project. So here we have the address for our local website, and we can put it in our browser. You aren't seeing this, but I don't think it's particularly useful. Okay, and then we can start creating a component for the layout. So here is our, can I move you? No. Here on the right side of VS Code, you can see all the structures of our file. We have created a components folder. You can name it however you want, but we named it components usefully. And we are going here to be creating a new file, and we call it pagelayout.astro. .astro is the extension for Astro files, including components. In these files, the syntax is going to be specific to Astro, so we'll go a little bit around how that syntax is done. But yeah, pagelayout.astro. And so we need this preamble, just a little bit of what you would call front matter in Markdown, and then we can write pure HTML code. So here we are trying to do, we are trying to remake this page. So we are literally going to do the page, to copy and paste it here. And with this, we could theoretically somewhat stop here, but actually let me import the other. We have one components need to be imported. So here's for the other component. What was I gonna say? Well, we could theoretically stop here, you know, like we just put the page layout in any page, and that page layout is gonna give us exactly the same page. So why don't we try and do that? So we take pages, and I am going to make an About Us page. So in this About Us page, I am going to try to use the component that we have made. So I'm gonna import the page. Oh, good suggestion. I'm going to import the page layout component from this components folder, and then I'm gonna use it as we have seen, exactly like I would use an HTML tag. I save it, and then I go back to my browser. I go to About Us, and it's the exact same page because we've just put all our page in a component. That's what we've done. This is not really very useful because pages change content, like each page has its own content. So now, how do we change the content of the component? How do we put more content in the component according to the page that we are in? So we do this in a few different ways. The first way we're gonna see is the concept of slot. So a slot is literally a small hole in your component where you can put other content inside. So here, the thing that changes page by page is the content of this main. Sorry, let me get the code bigger. Yes. So it's the content. Yeah, thank you, Leah. Leah has seen the wrong screen. So wait, was it wrong screen also when I was doing the page layout? I'm gonna redo it if that's the case. I'm so sorry. I wish there was a way in OBS to just automatically change it. One day I'll understand how to use OBS. Bear with me in the meantime. Okay, the page layout was the right screen. Thank you. So we are going to remove this whole thing from our component, and then I'm gonna save, and the page, yeah, see, all the content has disappeared. And instead, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add a slot. This is a special astro tag. I think, maybe web components have a concept of slot, I don't know, but let's call it a special astro tag. And what it means is literally whatever in a page, like About Us, you are gonna put in between the tag. So here we have page layout, and here we are gonna put welcome to our new, well, okay, and just do About Us. We save it, and you can see small, tiny, in the browser that About Us has appeared. Where are you, browser big? There. And we now have a component for a layout for our pages. It doesn't have a lot, but as you can see here, I can put whatever content I want. So I can say About Us, we are a group of volunteers working to bring modern web development to fandom and other online communities. Very, very, very simple. When the content of the page doesn't really matter. But now we have a page layout. So if we want to make another page, like the characters page, same thing, just copy and pasting, because no one has time to write everything. Then we can do our characters. And then we can put a working, well, I need to change the page. Let me change the page. We're gonna do a navigation, don't worry. Is it characters.astro, characters. And this is to be done. That's it. You can see building one component is not particularly hard. It's just you write HTML code and you import here the code that you have created, and then you use it as an HTML tag. Very useful. The other thing that I don't know that we actually have explored before, but as you can see, the other cool bit about Astro is to create a new page. You literally just go in this pages folder and make a new file. You can make pure HTML files, you can make markdown files, maybe we'll see that later. You can make MDX files, which is a cool new markdown format. I'm not gonna rant about it, but it's cool. And yeah, just creating the pages file and you will have a new page. So now let's say we commit to Git this small change, very small. So we go, oh, actually, let me first also change the index page to use the component. Where are you? Where are you? Index.astro, there you are. We don't need header anymore. We just need everything that used to be within main. So this page layout, and then at the end, page layout. I should get in the habit of removing the terminal for a bit more space. This looks correct, so I save it. I go back to the main page, and now we'll see some issue with CSS, yes. But you can see the layout bit has stayed. Normally, like it stayed as it was. Now the CSS is a bit iffy, and we saw why last time. I'm gonna remind you why in a second, but it is working, it's there. Any change we make to page layout, like, I don't know, what change can we make? The background color, we make it, I don't know, red. This should theoretically, yeah, there it is. This should update for all the pages, is the same. Okay, so let me see in chat, there is one question. Just wanted to confirm. Last time we talked about components are normally named with Pascal case, but pages are normally lowercase, right? Yes, so casing names, Pascal case is Pascal case, lowercase, and then snake case. These are, I think, oh, there's camel case. These are the general case names and ways to write variables that you will find in web development. Oh, wait, there is another one, kebab case, I think. This doesn't work for most, like for variables in most languages, but it is what you would use for example, web components. And it is what I would suggest if you're writing page names. I think kebab case is kind of considered a standard. You can see it here in About Us. Pascal case, however, is for what is standardly a word? I don't know. What the standard is usually for components. I don't know if it's enforced, but I do know that wherever you go, whatever framework you're using, most likely, if you see a tag that starts with a capital letter, that is a component that's been made custom for that framework. Standardized. Yes, standardized. Thank you for reminding me about English. So let's do this commit, or let's fix the CSS first. Fix the CSS because it's easy, and we are doing this global. This should fix it. Yes. Commit, then explain. Git status. oh, look at this. One of my TypeScript fixes didn't make it in. This is git status, as a reminder, gives a list of all the changes that I've made to files since the last commit. So this file here, srcs m.d.ts, this is not related to anything we've done. This is part of my TypeScript fixes, which if you look at git log, here it is. This was my last commit. So we don't want this change to become part of our let's create new pages commit. And so we are going to do something slightly, we're going to like add it to our staging before. So here, these are the changes to be added to our next commit. They are staged as they see, and it's only the n.d.ts file, which actually we need to delete. We don't need to add because I moved it outside. So let's go again, sorry. Now it appropriately says this file has been deleted. So now we are gonna stage it again because we made a new modification to it. I think I can just put, oh yeah, that helps git add. Fine. Okay, I am just gonna write the type. I don't remember what the syntax is, to just get the file there, okay. Oh, you weren't see it, so where is it? VS Code. Here are my not great attempt at trying not to have to write the whole file name. We actually need to research how to do this for FujoGuide. As you can see, I do not actually know myself. Okay, now I have added that file and it's nowhere to be seen because I think, yeah, we were adding it and then we removed it, so it's gone. Okay, crisis averted. So now, let's commit the actual files that we were doing. So git status, git add dot, everything should be added. Now all the changes that we've made are ready to be committed, and so we commit them and we do the title, like how what's the message? Created a page layout for all our new pages. Okay, so now we do git status again. See, it has created a commit, so we have saved our current state. We do git status again, and we have one commit more than what we have on GitHub, but nothing, the working tree, as they call it, is clean. Nothing has been changed since our last commit. Okay, after the git sidetrack, let us explain why you need a global star, an is global tag, I would call it, property there. And the reason is because components actually encapsulate, I'll explain the word, the CSS, and don't make it leak outside of themselves. So in short, what happens is that when you write CSS for a component, that CSS is only going to style the component itself. It won't touch anything that's outside of the component. And the reason for this, for why this is cool, is that it actually very much lowers your just cognitive load, I would call it, when you go edit things around your website. So one difficulty that you may have when you go make a new page on a regular website is, oh, I'm creating CSS with a certain and using a certain class name. Now, does this class name already exist? Am I overriding accidentally a style that was set somewhere else? You have to remember, and as you do websites and many pages and many different views, you are going to forget what you had named. So now you go search and blah 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 blah. You don't have to do this if you have components and the style only applies to the component itself. So that's what's cool. It, technical term, encapsulates the CSS and only makes it apply to itself. Now, however, here, because this is a layout page, what this style is actually kind of like global. It kind of needs to apply to everything within the page. This bit literally should only contain the bit that are repeated. And actually here we could remove some of this, because these are not anywhere in our page anymore. But for the rest, for example, like styling the body or styling the main or styling all the H1s or the paragraphs, you do want to apply them everywhere and override them if necessary. So you use this is global, which is a special syntax for Astro, and that tells it, please don't do the thing that components do where they encapsulate again the style, just make it apply globally. That's all there is to it. If you have any question, feel free to ask, and I will continue in the meantime. So since we mentioned it, let's remove this code. Let me get bot again. So now I remove it, and we should be back to having, yes, there it is. We are back to having issues with our CSS. So instead of having to solve this, instead of having the style within the page layout, we move it back to index, where these classes are actually defined. To do this, Astro allows us to just put the style tag here within the page, and now it applies again. And as I mentioned, if you create a roster, like an element named roster in another component, this style is not going to apply. It's only going to apply to index.astro. But yeah, that's it. We now have made further progress. So let's save it. We can say move index style to index page. Okay, that's it. Now, one little bit more. So we have seen slot, or I just slot. We have seen slot, where you take the content that has been that is within the tags and just drop it there as is. But that's not the only way you have to use components when you're doing, to customize components when you're building them. You can also use a concept, can you still do, question. Can you still do .css files in Astro? Yes, you can import them. I think you can put them in the public, here in public, and then you can just, no, don't delete public. And then you can just import them as you would any CSS file, and they will not have they will apply to everything. So maybe that's the right way of doing this, but it's global works. Those should apply to everything, and The other way is you just put a CSS file somewhere in SRC and then you can import it in a page. And that will, that you can do. And I think that also applies to, I think that applies to everything. I don't know. You can try, or you can look at the Astro documentation. I think now it's a bit beyond what we're doing. Okay, so let's say that we want to customize this more. As I was saying, one way, slot content between the tags, show it there. The second way is using props. Props are, again, not an Astro concept. I think they are also in every framework. And what they are is, sorry, trying to find a simple way. I think showing you is the best way. So let's see that there is something like small bits of configuration that you want to add to your component. So for example, title here, you don't want to have the same title for every page in your website. You want to change it every time. And to do that, you can use a prop. I think that's the main one in this page. So let's get, let's use a prop. Let me first see how you would actually put it in the page. So here we would have a page layout, and now we would have a custom prop or property for this component. And here you are doing it. I don't think we can use title because that's page title here, a bit better. That's a reserved HTML word, probably would work, but let's just do page title. Yeah, so we are passing a prop to page layout, and now we want to use it within the code in our component. So this bit here, in every Astro page, which as I said is modeled on what you would call front matter if you were in a markdown file, that bit is a very cool bit of the page that allows you to write JavaScript in it. And so if we wanna use our title prop, we can do const prop equal astro.props. I actually do not remember, but I think it's this. And here we can do props.title, and that should work. Let me also put title on the page itself, just so we can see it without looking at the title of my page. Let's see, does it appear? We are going to find out. Where are you? Where is the browser? And is this the index page? So I don't see it. Let me double check the syntax. Where are you, Astro website? There you are. So props. Oh, I need to be on the documentation side. Props. Component props. Where are you? Okay, no, it is the right syntax. Time to debug. Oh, because it's page title. You know what? Title is fine. If it works, it's better. And then there, I'm gonna go back to our page, and now the title is here. So yes, my bad. But this brings us to how do we avoid this issue? So cool thing, because I have started my project, my Astro project, by selecting TypeScript instead of pure JavaScript, we can actually do what's called type our component, which means that we can say, we can actually make a, like say what props our component will accept and what the types of those props should be. I'll show you how this is done. Very often a lot more complicated to explain than to see. So we create an interface named props. This is standard standard TypeScript, but also standard Astro syntax. And we say this component will have a title prop, which is going to be a string. String is just for text. Now, if I've done this correctly, when I remove this title here, it will give an error. Because here it says property title is missing, but required in type props. That's it. It yells you if you forget title. And if you named this instead of title, page title, now it will yell at you here because you have tried to access the title property, which does not exist. We only have page title, and it would yell at you here because for the same reason. So if you wanted to avoid making the mistake that I've made, which is a mistake you make a lot, because I also make a lot, start your Astro project with TypeScript and create an interface. TypeScript can get very complicated, but you can get the little bit of usefulness that you get here. So I am actually, you can see here, it also yells at us on all these other pages because we don't have a title. So I'm gonna do one thing, and I'm gonna make this optional. Optional in TypeScript is done by putting a question mark in front of the prop name, after the prop name, and now it's not yelling at us anymore. But I'm gonna do one more cool thing before we commit this and move to the next bit. I am going to give a default title in case there is no title that's given to the page. So maybe it's time to say fully funded on Kickstarter instead than raising. Let's see. We are going to copy this title, and we're going to go to page layout, and then we are going to do another variable. So we're going to say let title, and we are going, and this is going to be our default title for the page. This is a constant. This is going to be our default title for the page. Let me not get boggled in names. And then we say if props.title, so if this exists, this property, we are going to change title to props.title. And then here, instead of using props.title, we just use title. Do I still have it here? Yes. So now, let me get that page big so you can see how the title changes. Get the hot man very big on your page, but so now you can see that's the title of the page. Now if I remove this title here, we should still get it because that's the same as the default. But if I put a different title, like welcome to our website, that changed. And so this is the power of props on components. They allow you to play around with configuring your component. You have like a configuration that you can tweak so that it is all the code is there, like always the same wherever you use the component, but you can do small edits and modification to them. For example, in About Us, we can change the title to be About Us, but now I'm thinking that we could also just do something like we keep the Fujoshi Guide to Web Development here and just add the title bit there. And maybe now page title is a better name for it. Just change this everywhere. No, not only in the... And then page title here. So we have... Yes, as you can see on the page, our page title just became the second part. And so About Us, page title is gonna be About Us, and in characters, the page title is gonna be our characters. And indeed, if I go here in About Us, you will see that the title is About Us. So now that we've done this bit, let me remove this page title here and let me do another commit. And while we do the commit, is there any question? I'm gonna drink. Okay, seems like people are good. So not last, but another cool bit is let's try to do a navigation, because obviously as you can see from our very many pages, now we start needing to move around them. I need to write the URL manually. No one does that, so let's actually create a navigation. We are going to do a navigation nav component, nav.astro, and then we are going to put this within the page layout. We are gonna put it I'm thinking about header. Let's put it on top right now, and then okay, and then we'll see afterwards. So this navigation right now doesn't really have anything. We're gonna do a nav tag, and then we're gonna do is this an unordered list? Yes. Then we're gonna start doing home. Yes, there it is, home, and then we're gonna do characters, and then we're gonna do About Us. Okay, so creating navigations. Now I'm gonna use a trick because I forgot to put the anchor, and I'm just gonna use a trick, and I'm gonna do it on all the lines at the same time. Oop. There. Oh, I messed up this bit. Okay. Still much easier. And so this is gonna be /index. Well, no, just simply slash. This is gonna be /characters, and that is gonna be /about us. So now, if I go to the page and I click on characters, we go to the characters page. If we click on about, oh wait, can't you hear me? Oh, okay, now you can hear me. Perfect. Okay, so we were saying, click on characters, click on about us. Now we have a navigation. How are we gonna do this now? We are going to, well, this works, first of all, congratulations to us. And the one thing that I would want to do, that I think is always great to have when you have when you're making a navigation, is you want to indicate to the visitor which one is your current page. So let's do that. We need to figure out how we get the current page, and I actually planned this, so I got us the documentation. Let's go get the documentations on the Astro website. There is this property called astro.request.url that will tell us the current page, the URL of the current page. Oh, switch screen please. Yes, thank you. So as I was saying, we really need sorry, aside, you know how some Twitch streamers, and I don't know exactly how Twitch streaming works, but you know how some Twitch streamers have those things that pop up when they're streaming? We really need a Miss Boba, please switch your screen overlay. Wait, don't you need like to pay money to have that happen? Clearly that's only going to encourage bad habits from me. Yeah, it's like monetize. I can't, the only word that comes is incompetency, which I don't even know if it is a word, but it's more like, well, it's not the right term, but you know what I mean. Anyway, sorry, where were we? We can use this thing called astro.request.url to get us we can use here astro.url, astro.url.pathname, and astro.url.origin to check what the current URL is. So to do that, we need to first put our from mentor like thing here, because that's where we can actually run code. And then we do const and we do URL equal. No, wait. I remembered. Opposite. And also let me change page. Yeah, see, I remembered. Clearly, because I don't have the incentive of actually getting paid when I screw up. So we say astro.url here, and here we can add a convenient current URL is. Let's see how this works. Okay. Oh yes, because we are at home. Let's do a better page for this. Let's go to characters. Yes, the current URL is the local host bit characters, but actually what we want is just the path name. Look at this. I can get all the various things. There are so many. astro.url.pathname. Yes. See, current URL is characters. And so here, what we want to do is we want to add a class equal. Okay, going to try one thing. I think, can you do gliss in Astro? Oh, is it just string? Oh, I think there is a special syntax. Sorry, 1 second, I'm thinking how to do this. Well, okay. First of all, what am I trying to do? I am trying to give the class current to the LE, to the li, where that corresponds to the page we are currently at. So the bit here, the bit of difficulty is that I need to conditionally assign that class only if URL is the right one. And so there should be a Astro way that allows you to do this more easily. There is one in various languages, framework, but let me just go here and find it. Let's see, class list. This looks okay. Let me get the browser. I'm getting good at this. Here, this is common directive class list. Takes an array of class values and converts them into a class string. Blah 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 blah. Inspired by the popular CLSX helper library, but built directly into Astro itself. CLSX is actually what I was thinking about. It's a really good library, and Astro just built it there. We'll see what this means and how this works in a second. In the meantime, let me just say, if you press, what I'm doing to search is if you press Control K and then search, you get this beautiful bit to that, like these beautiful suggested pages in the Astro documentation. Fantastic. Very, very useful. So now let's go back. Leah says CLSX was what I was thinking about too. Yeah, I got you hooked, huh? It is so good. But to see what is good, let's actually try to use it. I already forgot the way it works. I'm gonna just copy it from here, and then we're gonna paste it and discuss it. So here, I'm just gonna do it for one instead of trying to do them all together. So we use class list instead of class. And yeah, it's just a slightly different syntax. So first of all, you can give it a list, which is, you can see these square brackets that is in JavaScript used to indicate a list. And then it's gonna take all of these different things you've given to it and turn them into classes. So the various thing you can do. This is a simple string, simple text, so it will get the hello and goodbye classes. This will This underline is an object, a JavaScript object, so indicated with a parenthesis, and it means this will get the hello and word classes only if whatever you put here is true. So that's what we will need. And here this is just I think this goes into a bit more advanced JavaScript that we're kind of going, but it's the way I would use it is if you have a variable, for example, a prop that takes a list, a series of classes, this is just telling you, oh, you don't need to go through the list to build a list of classes. You can just pass it down. Anyway, that aside, let us just do the simple bit. Here, what we want to do is we want to have current only if URL equals the href. Can I remove this? Yes, you don't even need the list, you just need this. Now let's get back this and let's do it for all pages. And here is going to be URL is characters, and this is gonna be URL is about us. And then here we can add a style, and we can say if the class is current, then we do the font color, no, just color, right? We do it red. Let's see, let's save, and let's test if we got it right by going to the right page. Okay, it's not doing the characters, but it's doing the dot. Let me now also get the character, I think, because we also need dot current a. Are you working? Oh, there it is, there it is. I had a moment of, I don't know CSS. So yeah, now we have a current in our navigation. And you can see how this is a lot easier than how you would do this on a when you're building a full like a website by hand. Like usually what you would do is you would copy and paste the nav code in every HTML page, and then you would go and you would just and then you would add current to the corresponding one in every page. And it's so easy to forget to update it, or you rename, for example, a URL, like characters becomes characters page, and now you have to like go find it everywhere. But with this, you just do it. And so someone asked, Devil Sunday asked, sorry for the newbie question, what's the coding done in? First of all, welcome, and there's no newbie question, they're all valid questions. So the coding is done in, well, it's Astro's special way of doing coding, but what this actually is, oh wait, you don't mean the language, yeah, actually, sorry, you mean the editor. The editor is VS Code. You can Visual Studio Code, you can get it from VS Code, Visual Studio Code, browser, here. You can get it from what is it? Why are you not letting me copy the thing? I'm gonna paste it in the chat. No, it's gone. Leah, can you, I can't copy and paste for some reason. Would you mind giving the URL? Anyway, Visual Studio Code, great, fantastic code editor. But yeah, no, Devil Thunder says, oh yeah, sorry, I meant the editor, I don't know the proper terminology. No problem at all. Like, this is a fuck up the terminology safe space. You know, I do it all the time. It doesn't matter. You do it. Fuck it up. We'll let you know when it's different, just so you can learn. But it's really not a big deal. What was I saying? Just going. You know, since I was explaining, let me explain this again. These .astro pages are written in a special Astro syntax, but what you get in between, let's go to the VS Code, but what you get in between this dash, that's JavaScript. Or if you have set it up the way I did, TypeScript, which is just JavaScript with the addition of types, which gives you a bit more safety in terms of just not being able to access things that do not exist. So astro.url, I can't just do this. It let me know that the property does not exist, but this way, this one does. Just call TypeScript. It's an addition to JavaScript that's very easy to set up. As I was saying, so the language there is JavaScript, and the cool bit about it that is a bit different from how you would use JavaScript on a normal page is that all the logic that we have in here, all this thing, this goes away the moment that you run the build step on your website. This is just run one time when the website is building, like Astro is taking all the pages and like building your HTML. It runs this bit here and then it's gone. You don't have it on the page. You build a website that's just HTML. So you don't have to worry. Like, you know, some people might do not like having a lot of JavaScript in the page. This is not actual JavaScript that goes on your website. This is just to help you do things like get the appropriate values on your components. Let me catch up with the chat. And yeah, Devil Sunday and Leah are just talking about Astro and what a static site generator is. So just as a reminder, we do actually have recordings of the previous sessions we did with like the introduction, and then also these today's on my YouTube, which I don't actually have a link to here. I'm going to add myself a to-do to add link, add YouTube, link to Twitch. And I don't know if Leah with their incredible copy paste privilege can find the URL to paste. Let me know if you can't. It's on our Tumblr and any website if you want to paste it in the chat. Okay, so let's go back to our nav. Now we have we now have our navigation, and I want to style it. So one thing I want to do is, well, let's start with just styling it here on the side. How do we do this? Well, so one thing I like to do when I go style things, it's I just open the inspector, and I'm gonna go just on the browser right now to do this. So I just go wrong. This is Chrome, and there is, but there is, well, this is Arc, which is based on Chrome, but there is equivalent panel in any browser, modern browsers. You can reach it usually by just clicking on the page with the left button and then do inspect here. And this one is a very cool way of trying to change things on the page and see how they react. You can get your various elements, and then you can do things like just delete them. Or what we're gonna be doing today is we're gonna take our nav, and then we are gonna change the CSS. So here we're gonna do, for example, let's say display flex. And then we are gonna do, we need width, oh, sorry, we need to do this in the UL. My bad. There. Can I just remove the width now? Yes. Okay, so we can change the style of our elements in directly on our browser. This doesn't actually change the files as they are in our code, but it is a good way to just doing the styling without having to switch back and forth, and also just having a quicker feedback. And then before we get to the before we refresh the page, we're gonna copy and paste all the styles that we've created in our files so they stay permanently. Because as you see, if I refresh here, the styles are gone. So we got to make them work. So we do display flex, which allows us to put them all in a single line, and then we do gap, let's say 10 pixel, which creates a small gap in between the elements. Now we want to also remove the dots because they kind of suck. List style none. Oh, that's on the lead, but we need to have it for all of them. So another small trick is we can click on this plus, and then we can just do li, and then we can do list style none, and this will actually apply our custom class to the elements. And then is this the same size? Is this the right size? Yeah, that looks like the right size. Let's see, let's start putting this in our nav. I'm going to make this bigger, remove this so you can see a little bit me pasting this. So here we have what we said. We did the UL, we'll get the style, and we'll get list style known. And now if we refresh, it's still the same. Yes. So another thing that it's cool about self-contained styles in components, the famous encapsulation that I was talking about. Normally, if I were doing these changes in HTML and CSS in purely there, I would need to make sure that my UL had a special class, because UL written the way that it's written here, it would apply to every list on the website. And you don't want that, you're just styling the nav. So this is a part of the power of making a component. Now I don't have to wonder, oh man, how am I, like, what name am I gonna give to this UL so that, you know, it doesn't interfere with any other list on the page. No, you don't need that. You just write UL, and as long as you have a single UL here, only that gets the class. Going to look at the chat, Leah says it's also good for when you break your style, figuring out how to manage to do that. I think they're talking about the like the browser development tool where we're changing the CSS. Absolutely. Devilson, they say editing in the elements makes so much more sense. I did the edit the numbers and refresh the file index. Yeah, I'm not sure what you did with the edit the numbers bit, but like, yes, you can actually edit in there on the current element. It's great. You know, one thing that I find really interesting about doing these streams and just like generally helping people, it's like there is all these small tricks that, you know, I picked up throughout the years. But that you know, people might not actually run into for a very long time in their coding journey, and so it's always nice to, you know, do something like this live and use a tool, that it's so useful, and see a bunch of people like light up with, oh my god, I can do this. This is so helpful. Well, I'm glad that it's helpful. Oh, Devilson said like saving that and then saving the page and then putting in the browser and refreshing that. Yes, that's one of the ways you can do it. But this way you can, like, again, it's a lot easier for testing, because if you mess up, you see it immediately. You don't have to go back and forth. And let's do a little bit more of that. So here we want to remove the underline, so text decoration none, I think. Well, let's just type characters, and then color, well, maybe we don't want text decoration, no. Okay, do people have feelings about whether links in nabs should be underlined or not? I'll let you all tell me. And then we're gonna do text color base as a CSS variable for the color there. And I think that's gonna be fine. I'm gonna just put this again on our, this goes on our A. We make an A and then we give it this. And now everything else except for and we get this for everything but home. People say, oh, people do have feelings. Okay. I love that I stepped on people's feelings. Okay, let's see the feelings. Devil Thunder says, I think underline looks traditional, which looks funny to me. I agree. Actually, it does look kind of weirdish. Nemaria says, I like underline, but on hover only. That's fantastic. Let's do that. Leah says, I hate underlines because they make things more difficult to read. If we're going to leave the underline, then I like to have a little space between the underline and the text. But I prefer to either not have it or have it dotted. Oh, I like dotted. Dotted is cute. But let's do actually over effect. Hover. Yeah. Sorry, I am not in the code thing anymore. So I'm doing a over. Decided to just go on the page. Text decoration. I kind of like wavy. That's a very Miss Boba choice. But can you see it? Oh, it's not working. Oh, did I not refresh the page? Is it taking a bit? Okay. Okay, time for another trick. So now we want to see what happened, because I wrote this and A on hover, text decoration wavy, and everything tells me that this should work, but it's not. So let's see. New trick. What you can do is you can use this browser. Okay, is you can use this button here, the one that says hov, to simulate states on an element. So you see here, first element state. We are going to say that the state of the A element that's selected is hover. And yeah, so this is now behaving as if we were hovering that element, and you can see that there's nothing. So something is wrong. Now we close this, and it's still maintaining hovering, and you will see that our class actually triggered. So A, where, blah, 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 these bits here that you will see if you're doing in Astro, ignore them. That's just how you're gonna do, how Astro does that encapsulation thing I was talking about. So here it says A on hover, text decoration is wavy, but it's not working. Okay, let's try underline. Oh, underline works. Why is wavy not working? I love wavy. Other cool thing in this DevTools, you can actually get all the values, but it's not liking most of them. This is weird. Okay, it's time for Google. I am gonna Google this. Text decoration wavy not working. I want my wave. Oh, is it text decoration style? What? Okay. Then why is it there? Okay, let's go back to, let's see one thing. If I now do text decoration style, I think this does not appear, because I also need, because text decoration is none, but if I did underline, okay, now it works. So text decoration, can I get the wavy but up top? Oh yeah, you can. So text decoration seems like it controls where the line is, but text decoration style controls whether it's wavy or not. Leah says, MDN says it works, it should work in the short end. I was expecting it to work. Does Arc not support it? I don't think so. Arc is just Chrome. Well, Chromium. But like it's based on Chrome, it should. I have no idea what's going on there. All is linked to the actual page. Let me see what MDN says. Well, let's see if it works on MDN, you know? Wavy. Oh, you can change the color. Look at that, you can change the color. Anyway, I think it works, but I think you need a shorthand. Like you can't have text decoration none and wavy. Let's try the shorthand. Here. So if I do overline wavy, now I should, there. Now it works. So you need both. You can't have just wavy, but it works. And now we're gonna also change the color. Are we gonna make it? Let's see what color variables we have defined. Oh, you don't. Sorry. Okay. If I don't have anything, it will allow me to change it. And then let me re-add this. Sorry, this is very bad. Okay. Is that cute? I don't know. What colors do we have? Is it cute enough? You know what? I'm gonna just put it. No one said that this needs to look good right now. We can make it look good another day. Where were we? Hover, and now text decoration. Going back to code, text decoration. Actually, all this. And now the page updated, as you've seen, because in the small bit. And now if I hover, we get the wavy underline. What about the pink of the arts? Do we have that defined? I don't think so. We can go back to our layout, and we have defined all our CSS variables there. I don't know why I'm not getting the bit that gives me the color preview. Anyway, we have cream, purple, red, light blue. But let's actually get it. Look at this. I don't know if people have done it before, but you can click on the color. You can click on the color picker, and you can click here on the page, and that will give you the color. I'm moving. You can also get, and now we are gonna get the hex, and we're gonna put it where we were. Where is it? Where are you? Page layout. There you are. And here we are gonna do Fujo pink. And now we can use Fujo pink anywhere in our CSS, and when you go here, you can see it. If people are not familiar with this syntax here, these are called CSS variables. You recognize them because they have the dash dash before that, and they're literally variables but with CSS. So wherever you want to use them in your code, you can do var, and you can and the name, and that will become the content of that variable. And as an additional thing, I think this should work even if you don't make this style global. Let's try it. Does this work? Yeah, see? Just a fun fact, if you wanna create something that, if you wanna pass down something to a component, but you don't want to make the style global, you can use CSS variables. Again, just fun fact. Catching up with the chat again, Devil Sun the same, brain is exploding in real time seeing the browser color picker. This is so useful. I am so glad this can be useful. Honestly, at some point I should just make a stream on using the dev tools, because there are so many little tidbits that, we kind of give for granted. You kind of give for granted if you've been doing this for a long time, but I've really seen people, being like, oh my god, I didn't know you could do this. And yes, you can. It's great. And there was some that say, oh, so using the variable, if you change the var color in the CSS, it changes everywhere the var is used. Yes. Let's try to change one. So I go here and I do text color base. And now if I change it, see, you have similarly, here this is in body, so you would get to body normally and you would find it. So let's see that we change the text color base. See? You can also see it update in real time. And then you can change all of them. Yep, that's how it works. That was something that says I'm like super baby, so I don't know a lot of things. First of all, I'm so glad that you're giving coding a chance, because it's great. We were all babies at some point, and also you would be surprised, even like years of doing this, how much there is that I don't know, and I am always learning. Like, you see how many tabs there are, like here on the on this DevTools. I know a bit about some of them, but there's a lot that I'm not using that might be useful. Okay, we refresh the page and the variables are going to go back to normal. There. Oh, one bit that might also be interesting for people that are interested in using CSS variables. What they do is they make it, like, one advantage is if you want to change, for example, a color based on the page you're at, you can do that with CSS variable. Like, you know, if you want to change the styling of elements around, you just change it in the page, but you use, but the global CSS stay the same. So that's another way you can use this. Okay, so now let's make the current, instead of that color, we make it var FujoRed. And now we have it. And then we are gonna also do for current A, I'm gonna make the hover in the same color, in the same FujoRed color. So current A hover, it's going to be now FujoRed. And the one thing that I was gonna do differently is here on A hover, we're using the whole like this super long way of doing of setting these styles, but now we want to only change the color. So I think the bit we want to change is called, it's a property called text decoration color, but I don't know, so I'm going to show you another cool bit in the browser. Let me get the browser mainly. So now if we go to let's get a hover here. If we go look at text decoration here and we click on this down arrow, it tells us all the properties that are within this text decoration and what their values are. So you see there is a lot of different potential property that we can get on text decoration. So there is a line, there is a thickness, there is a style, and there is a color. So yeah, I would have expected it to tell me what the values were here. It's not doing it, I don't know why, doesn't matter. This is telling me the text decoration color is likely what we want to override. So copy the property. Text decoration color, this is gonna become var FujoRed. And so now, well, this one is, I need to remove the over from here. Yeah, see, now it's the right color. And also Leah was saying in the chat that you can use CSS variable for images, font, families, anything. Yeah, you can use them for a lot of things. They're just a very neat property. One thing you could use it for, you should be able to use it for, is, for example, if you want to use lists and have the dots be small images. I think you can do it. You can do it as widgets, and so you could have, you know, for different lists, you could use a CSS variable to give them different images or things like that. Or another thing is, if you do want to allow someone to change a property that repeats a lot via JavaScript, by setting it with JavaScript, that's another really great use case for CSS variables. Since we're talking about CSS variables, I'm gonna show you one more trick, which is, if you actually go in this UL, trying to see if, let me get the whole page. Now it's a bit, so if we can get more than one thing on screen at the same time. So now, today is DevTool tricks. If I go on body and I change FujoRed, you can see that it changes both in the nav up top and in the title. But now, if I go, let me get the thing in between. Now, if I go here, let's say in the nav that defines our navigation, and I redefine the CSS variable, so I define FujoRed again, and I define it to be, see, any different color, let's say red again. Now it only changes within that nav. So that's another way you can use CSS variables to change the style across like different usages of the same element. It actually will go, you don't need to define them globally on the body. If you put them on an element, when the variables is used, it will go up to its parent, like up in the HTML tree, and then it will use the first value it finds in its ancestors. So yeah, another cool trick. Okay, so I am going to finish a little bit. Here, let's say we do a little bit of margin in there. Let's give it, you know what? Let's do it just manually a second. Let's give it some margin to this nav. Say 15 pixel maybe. Yeah. I think this looks better. And I also feel like the font is a bit small. Is it small for everyone? I kind of want to... What do we have? We have it defined somewhere. Font size 3 rem for H1. MPS... What's font size? Oh, you want to see actually another cool browser trick? I'm gonna do it. So let's say you want to know what's the font size. Going back. Let's say that you want to know the font size of this element. you can go on. Oh, what I want you on the side. Why aren't you on the side anymore? Sir, can you go on the side, please? Sorry. Now it's a. Did I make it too big? Okay. Yeah, now I made it too big. So if you want to go and know the size of this, you can see that there is no. It's not added here. See, it's nowhere to be seen. Possibly, if you go up down this list, you should be able to see where it's set, because here is all the inherited properties, tells you where they are coming from. And so like you arrive to body, and here it should tell you. No, it's inherited from, what is it? Nowhere. Okay. There's nowhere to be seen, but that's not what I was going to show you. I was going to show you the computed tab. So the computed tab is just telling you what the actual values of all the properties are. So here, see, just gives you all the margin bottom of this element, margin top. It doesn't matter where it's defined. It just tells you what it is. And then here we should be able to find font size. Oh, come on. How is it? Oh, because I only put the ones that are actually set. So now I say, well, filter, font size. So there it shows you the font size is 16 pixels. So we haven't set it. So that's the default. And you can see that it's the default by going here, and also you can see what effectively it is. But if you, for example, get, you want to know where this text decoration color was defined, let's see, like there it should tell you where are, like it tells you where the CSS is. So let me see one that is here. If you click on it, it sends you directly to the style element where that is, and you can look at it and you can edit it just like we did everything else. Anyway, computed tabs, great. Also tells you padding, margin, border. I use it a lot. It's a great tab. Now I lost what I was doing. I think I added, oh yes, I think I added the margin, but now I also wanted, going back to this, nav, I want to give the nav some margin. So nav, margin, we said 15 pixel, and let's say, sorry, let's say font size with the 1.2 rem. Oh, this is going to be okay. There. Wow, that's too big. Okay, going back here and trying it. I am going to do font size 1.6 rem. One rem maybe? Does one rem look good? It's hard to say if you are not actually looking at the page. I had an idea. Brilliant idea. Look at this. Much better. Okay, so let's go put it in the nav, and let's change this font size to 1 rem. Feels the same, 1.5. I like it. Oh, what's 1.4? 1.5. I like 1.5 as a size, to be honest. But maybe let's do 20 pixel. I'm here behaving as if I like was good at this. Let's do 15. Okay. Move the changes, so gap is gonna be 15. And then we said nav 1 margin 20, but font size 1.4 rem. And here, characters and about us. Yeah, now we have a navigation. And I think, we have, well, we theoretically have 10 minutes to get to 2 hours. I think I want to try one last thing, but any question in the meantime? Leah says, I'm about to go add wavy underlines to all my links. Yeah. I am pretty sure that my links are underlined on my website. Are they? Let's see. Yeah. Oh no, I did the circle. But in many websites, oh, maybe on my actual main page, I think they're wavy. Where are you? Yeah. Ah, well, you aren't seeing it. Also, where are you, browser? See the wave? Anyway, Devil Sunday was asking, is RAM just another measurement instead of pixel? Yes, it's relative M. I forget what M stands for. I would not be able to explain it in an understandable way. Out of the blue, it's basically just you can define the size of the font based on what the font size is on your parents, something like that. I know that they recommend using RAM for font. Honestly, you can use pixels. I think the difference is that you can make RAM be. I think RAM is more accessible because RAM actually changes according to the font size that the user has selected for their browser. So if you actually have if a user has can't see well and they have made their font bigger, I think if you put the size in pixel, it stays like that. But RAM actually does change the font size of the page. No, I don't remember if M does that too, but that's basically it. It is that's what I remember about RAM. But yeah, it is a different way to do the size. There are so many ways to control sizes in CSS in the modern world. That didn't used to be, but now there are so many. With time, take some time to explore them because some are really useful. Now, the thing I wanted to do is, since we are actually doing our, since we're doing properties, let me do one last property. I am going, though, to first do a commit here. So we have done quite a bit of styling. So now git commit and say change, no, style our nav. Now what I want to try to do is I want to try to have actually two different styles for navigation. In one we have the sorry, for our header. In one we have this logo here for the Fujoshi Guide to Web Development, like directly under the nav, and in one I want to put it instead to the side of the navigation. Let's try. And so I want to be able to control which one of the two is with a prop. First of all, let's go look at how we did the nav and where every element is. So in order to do something like that, we want to have the header and the navigation in the same component, because we want to be able to to style them together. So I think header is currently within page layout. Yes. And our question is, do we want to have header move it inside nav? I think we should. Actually, let's go see how header is defined. So header as this image, and it is actually within a header tag. So actually I'm gonna say we don't want just to move header within nav, we want to do the opposite. We want to move nav within header. So let's remove this nav here. Let's remove this import. And let's go to header. Where are you, header? And let's put header in here. Let's put nav in here. We add the import. That's not. Sorry, my cat it wants the food. We have the navigation here. Now header, it's a bit, it is, does not have anything to center things, so it moved. And I also, yeah, okay, so now we have two styles. In one style, we want this element here to be next to the home characters about us, to navigation, and in one we want it to be at the bottom or at the top. We can choose. So the best way to do something like this is to have a flex layout. Let's go to header. I'm gonna go with the browser again. Let's go to header and let's start messing around. So here we are gonna do display flex, and that's gonna put the image to the side of the header. I'm gonna say flex direction. Here you can use it actually to flip it. You can do row reverse if you want to flip it. Let's do it that way. And then, so this is a little bit, I'm gonna paste it in my header style just to save it. And then we also want in this style to have this image be, let's say, maxed with 30%, maybe a bit too much, 4, too little. Is this gonna? We are gonna do a media query there. Or maybe we just do width, let's say 100 pixel, and then go way up. 400 pixel. I like 400 pixel. And then height auto, because it keeps resizing weird. And then we're gonna put this is the logo class, so I'm gonna put it there. Let me go in code. So actually one thing that we want is, oh, what? There. So one thing we want is we want different classes, right? So here we're gonna do something like style list, as we saw. Oh, class list, not style list. And then we are gonna say, something like single line. Oh, you can't do single line this way. All right, well, we can single line, let's say it's true right now. So this is always gonna give the single line class to our header. And so here we're gonna do header with classes single line. We'll get those property, and here if logo is within the single line class, you're gonna get these other properties. So header single line is gonna get this. So going back to our browser page, now if I remove the single line class from header here, I guess other fun fact, you can remove this here from the page. It goes back to how it was. Only thing we also want to do on nav, we still want display flex to really, and so we can do align items, justify content. That's good. Okay, we just want to change. Okay, and so now if we wait, what did I do? Oh, flex direction column. I am okay. Sorry, let me see where we were at. Okay, that works. But now if we remove single line, where were we at? Yes. No, we want to do justify content center, but we want to do flex direction column. And now justify content is, this is align content, align items there. Other trick, as you can see, if you click on this bit on the blah 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 blah, whatever you call it, the style tab, where is display flex, you can play around with like what the display flex properties until you find the right one. That's how I do it. You know, professionally approved way of remembering, well, not remembering what the various display flex properties do. Okay, now we this is kinda weirdly aligned, doesn't matter. It's just a thing I wanted to do. And then we'll fix the CSS with a media query. Or maybe we can do flex wrap. Does flex wrap do it? Let's try it. Yeah, flex wrap does it. It's just bad, I guess. But maybe if I change the flex, yes, look at that. Works. We like it. Do we like it? I don't know. It works for now. Oops. Putting the properties in. this gets weirdly pixelated when it goes small, maybe because it's a bit too big. It doesn't matter, it's okay. We're just trying things. And so now how would we control something like this? Well, we need to go back to our code and we need to change the single line from true. Now we are gonna need a property. So now what we are gonna do is we are gonna do a interface for our props, and we're gonna have a prop. We're gonna call it single line. And this is gonna be a Boolean. Boolean means it has only two values possible. It's either true or it's false, and it's the one you see here. So what you want to do is you want to go const props astro.props, and then here single line, it's props.single line. So if it's false, single line won't be there. If it's true, single line will be there. Right now we have page layout.astro that's yelling at us because in header it says that we must have single line in the props of header. So we're gonna want to make it optional. And I'm going to say, actually, I'm gonna say one thing. Instead of doing it single line, we are gonna do that by default this is single line, because I'm imagining the most internal pages will be in that way, but for the main page we want to have it multi-line. So by default, when this is here, remember this is optional, and in JavaScript you can kind of say if something is empty, if something is not defined, then it's false. So by naming this multi-line, it just makes more logical sense, because when it's empty, multi-line is going to be non-existing, which is false. When multi-line is false, then it's false, and then only if multi-line is true, it will actually be multi-line. As opposed to if you do this if you call this single line and then you make it optional, then if that's not defined, you have single line false, so it's multi-line. So it works in both ways, but this makes more sense to me in the just in the way that it reads. So now we have the page layout as this header, and we want to be able to customize it per page, but we do not, since it's per page, it can't be page layout.astro that gives us the value. It has to be someone that's using page layout astro. So we add a new prop to page layout and we call it multi-line header, and this is also optional, and we still a Boolean. So we do multi-line header, and now here in header we pass multi-line, and the value of multi-line is going to be props.multi-line header. All right, it's covering it a bit. Okay, so now in layout, when we go to, by default, let's go back to the browser. This is the final thing. Okay, 1 second. What have I messed up? Oh, because I'm using props multi-line, but this is single line. Okay, you know what? I'm just gonna do it's single line if it's the opposite of props.multiline. It's okay. Probably not the best, but and this is a JavaScript concept that just means this is a Boolean, so it's yes or no, and if you put the exclamation mark in front of it, that's the opposite. So Okay, and so now it's by default single line everywhere, but we want to have it multi-line in the main page. And so now we go to index.astro, and we take page layout and we do multi-line header, and we save, and now it's multi-line. And this is like equivalent multi-line header is true here. You cannot, this would be false. That's just syntax, but I like when it's true, you put it, you just put it, and I like it, and that makes it multi-line. And this is the last bit. I think we have seen quite a bit about props. Just one last going around the browser, multi-line, single line, multi-line. And that's it. Let's do the final saving. And sorry, just going on VS Code, add single line header. And now theoretically the last bit to do would be to push this, but I don't actually want to publish this because most pages are empty. So I'm gonna leave the site as is right now, and I'm just gonna push this to a different branch. Now I messed up and I did everything on main, so it's time for some Git schooling. I want to create a different branch, so I switch to a new branch, and we are calling this layout component. Okay, I don't know if this is a word. I am making it a word. Componentization. I switched to a new branch, and now that branch is going to have all the changes that we made today. And then we are going to push this on my origin and out to a branch called componentization. We're gonna link them together. So now you can find this, you'll be able to find this on my GitHub. Let me give it to you if you want to see it. I'm gonna link it. Okay. Well, actually, let me just show it in the browser and then link it. Here you can see this is 6 commits ahead of Fujo of the main. Here are all the commits, and they are in a different branch. Here is the link. Oh, it's still not allowing me. Okay, wait, I was able to paste. This is the result of our work today, and I'm not gonna check it in the main branch, because if I check it in the main branch, then that's gonna become the website as it exists. But actually, as you might remember, we are using Vercel, and Vercel allows us to see a preview of any branch we have open on GitHub, so you can actually see componentization as it exists on my local a special address, which is a bit too long to show it. Did I show it? Yes, it's a bit too long to show, but there is an address for it, and I'm also gonna put this in the chat. And now the very last bit, and it's where I'll let you all go. The very last bit that I want to do is I actually don't want to have all these commits that only exist in componentization in my main. What I want my main to have is, I just want it to go back to this commit when I was fixing the TypeScript config, which is also where main is on GitHub, as you can see from origin main here. And so all of this is already saved in the componentization branch. We can remove them. We can make main be back to here. So if we start making edits again to main, we will not change. Those will be from scratch, from where we were. They won't be the changes to componentization. Those are going to be just there. Anyway, so how do we do this? We take the commit number that we want to go back to, and then we do git reset --r to the commit number. And now if we go to git log, all those changes that we've made today are removed. They're not on main anymore. But if we check out componentization, they are still here. And you can say main instead is at this thing. So just fun bit that we actually wrote about in the guide this week. So I did not make it doing on purpose, but it's great that it was useful and I got the chance to show off this knowledge. And with this, I think it is all. Any last question? Okay. Oh, okay. It seems like people are good. As I mentioned before, if you do end up with any question at any point, please do write us on our socials, and we'll do our best to help. Chat Nemaria says, thank you, this was so interesting. I'm so glad you enjoyed it. If you want to give it a try, I hope you'll give it a try. It can get really fun, and it makes building websites so much easier. And the offer of, if you need help, reach out is always open to everyone. Devil Sunday says, I'm gonna check out the Git videos after this. This stream has been super useful. Thank you so much. I'm so glad you found it useful. Really, me and everyone else that works with me on this project, we love web development, and we really want to see more people make their own website and make them incredibly cool and get all the power that you've seen today of just building components and using layouts and web CSS variables and all of that. Web development, modern web development has gotten so much better than it used to be when I started 15 years ago. And it's really hard to find modern tutorials that cater to people that don't really want to be professional but still want to make their own website. And so this is what we're here for. And I'm really glad that everyone that we managed to bring to the dark side of modern tools and technologies, it's a victory. So yes, anyway, that is all for today. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next time, where we are likely going to continue with components. I think we're gonna do the characters page, we're gonna do the about us page, and I might show you actually how you can use Markdown, how you can make Markdown pages in Astro. So look forward to that. and see you next time. Bye.